Hello, dear listener. The show you're about to listen to was recorded in early 2024. At the time this is being published, we are well into 2025. We took kind of a long hiatus in production, but this episode that we taped before going offline was too good to miss. So, I want to present it to you as is. So with that being said, let's get into this bad deal.
This is Vlad Arakcheyev, and you're listening to The Bad Deals.
Welcome to Bad Deals, the only real estate horror podcast on the air. I'm Jay Bisega, your host, bringing you war stories from the top warriors in the real estate game today, all with crucial lessons in the end. Because in real estate, the worst deals often teach the most valuable lessons. Let's get started. Welcome to Bad Deals, the show where we know that real estate is not all sunshine and hockey stick growth. There are trials, challenges, and yes, sometimes bad deals. I am your host, Jay Bisega, and today I am joined by my friend, fellow Jake and Gino member, Vlad Arakcheyev. Thank you for being on the show, Vlad.
Thanks for inviting me. I really love it here. Thanks.
Of course, man. It's a pleasure to have you. Vlad is a multifamily investor, and he's a real estate agent. And today we're going to talk about a syndication that he did that did not go exactly as planned and really kind of fell apart. But before we get into all that, Vlad, let's just talk about, I want to hear a little bit about your background so the audience knows how you got into this and got yourself in a position to, be in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long journey because judging by my accent, I was born in Soviet Union. I came here 30 years ago. I lived in Brooklyn, New York for about 25 years, and now I live in North Jersey. I married, have 2 kids, 3 cats, so, I love what I do. And I was a graphic designer all my life. That's what I've done. And I got this perfect job just a mile away from my house. Everything was great. And then COVID hit. I got furloughed. I had no other income. My wife had a job, but that's it. We couldn't do anything. I had some unemployment money coming in, but ultimately I realized that I can't be relying on my W-2 for income. So I needed to make a change. So we thought, what could I do? I mean, there has to be something that people needed all the time, right? They have to live somewhere. So I got my real estate license and started selling houses, even during COVID. And then that took me to, I'm selling houses as a realtor, but everybody's like, oh, you should try wholesaling, you should try flipping houses. And I'm like, how does that work? So I started going to these networking events, and that took me to working with partners on flips and wholesaling. And then I got my first single-family rental. And it was a fairly quick progression because I was trying to find myself. And like wholesaling, it really didn't fit me. Realtor, I liked, and I'm still doing it. I really enjoy it very much. But ultimately, I wanted to grow as fast as possible. So what do I need for that? And I went to this multifamily conference in Texas, and my eyes were just opened. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at what is happening here. People are buying hundreds of units, and I'm trying to buy one single family house in South Jersey. What am I doing wrong here? So I came home to Jersey, got myself into a mentorship program, and everything else just kind of took off after that because I knew I had to be in multifamily.
Yeah, I love that. Just real quick, it's kind of fascinating. Like, you started during COVID. What amount of time are we talking about here between I'm a graphic designer that wants to start selling houses and I am now getting into my first multifamily deal?
Yeah, it was really quick because as soon as I got into real estate space, I started selling houses or renting apartments here locally. and then to flipping and to holding a single family, it took like a year. Really, really quick progression. And then before even being established as a wholesaler or a flipper, I ended it pretty quickly because I realized that I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
Because, listen, when you're at your W-2, what do? You grind every day, you work every day, right? My goal was to get passive income because I learned from COVID when the work stops, there is no more money. So
Right.
I needed money coming in without me doing stuff, basically.
Right.
I'm just kind of, speaking out loud here. So I needed to make money while I'm sleeping.
Sure.
So what do I need for that? I need passive income. I need rentals. So what do I need to get to that level? I can buy, let's say, 10 houses, 20 houses, but that's 20 closings, 20 different locations, 20 different roofs that I have to manage. They all spread all over the place, plus New Jersey landlord-tenant laws are not the best. So what do I need for that? I need to connect with people that buy deals in different states, more landlord-friendly states. So I connected with people in Texas, in Kansas City, in Carolinas. Thank you to my mentors, Jake and Gino. I joined their mentorship back in the day and connected with those people and started growing because multifamily was the way to go. Ultimately, it's a team sport and the potential is there. You just have to be patient and you have to really, really work at it. I did quit my W-2. I did because I started losing deals. But ultimately, I realized that I made the right choice. So now I am a full-time multifamily investor and I do real estate work for my active income.
Sure. Wow, that's so pretty incredible stuff, man. I love that. So let's talk about how we got into this situation. Are we going to talk about your first big acquisition or your second?
It's actually my first one. Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it did not go well because, as soon as you get into the space, you have accountability coaches and stuff like that, and they all saying you have to set a goal. So I set my goal as 200 units the first year, which is just absolutely crazy goal. I'm like, who sets a goal like this? But ultimately, it's not such a huge goal if you think about it. So I worked really hard for about 8 months, and I got nowhere, even though the market was hot. But I didn't know anything, right?
Yeah.
I was learning. It was like drinking from a fire hose, right? I was learning how to speak with brokers, how to talk that language, how to underwrite, because I didn't know anything about multifamily real estate. And then I got invited to be on an LP team or be an LP in a syndication in San Antonio. So I told them no, because listen, I spent all this money on education. I wanted to be a partner, a GP, right? So I told them no, and that was the end of it. So 2 days later, they reach out to me and they go, hey, listen, what can you do? Can you raise capital? Can you do investor relations? Can you do marketing? I was so eager to be in a deal. I said, absolutely. I can do all of those things. I really wanted to be in it. So after speaking with the partners, they said, sure, then you'll do marketing. You can do kind of investor relations. You can back us up. And please try to raise some capital for us. And that's how I got into my first syndication.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's honestly how a lot of GPs get their start, is through being on, raising and doing some other kind of role for somebody else's deal. So that's definitely it. Frankly, in my experience hearing about these, usually that doesn't lead to a bad deal story. But when did things start to kind of come off the rails?
Well, you know what? I was so bold. I go, they ask me how much money do you think you can raise, and I go, oh, I can raise $1 million, no problem. And I didn't know much, but the thing is, I was so determined, and I was asking him like, how do you raise so much money? And people like, hey, listen, if you wanted to raise money today, you should have started 2 years ago, because that's exactly how it works. You
Yeah.
know? And I believe him. I believed him. But I was so determined. I was going on all the Zoom calls and networking events and everything. I used to go to like 5 Zoom calls a day, nonstop, from like 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. nonstop. Because 9 p.m. Eastern time, you know, you have 3-hour difference.
Oh,
in
yeah.
California time.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of Zoom calls happening. So I was Zooming all the time, connecting with everyone, and I couldn't raise anything, like zero. My best friends that I knew for 30 years, they're like, no, we're not giving you money because we don't know you. Who are you? I'm like, guys, you know me for 30 years, but they saw the desperation, and they saw that I just wasn't doing it correctly. You know, it was just, I guess I was too excited, and I didn't know how to speak right. I didn't have experience, and plus I didn't have any deals under my belt. That was number one thing. But I finally got a person that was looking to do a 1031 exchange, and he had to identify a property. You know, you have like 45 days to identify. So he needed to identify and then put over $1 million into the syndication.
Sure. And just for
I
the
found
listeners,
that-
sorry to interrupt you. Just for the listeners, a 1031 exchange is just a way to defer capital gains taxes. So in this situation, you would have somebody who, you know, like Vlad said, you have a 45-day window to identify a new property where that money from the proceeds of the sale is going to go. So a lot of times it's like you got to make a decision fast. And we had a ton of those in the past few years from people selling at higher, like a lot higher than they bought it, so they had a huge capital gain. But it's almost sort of a, I heard somebody compare it to a shotgun wedding. It's very fast. So
yeah, you have 45 days to ID the next purchase, and then you have 6 months to close. So it's a pretty small window, and ultimately you don't hold the money. It goes to a custodian, and then they move the money to a different project, or to the new project. So this person needed a 1031. The deal was in San Antonio. It was 200 units. Picture this: I got 200 units the first year, exactly like I imagined. Isn't that amazing?
yeah.
So I was over the moon. I was too excited over it, and I was too emotional over it, I think. Because it's just, I mean, picture working for 8 months, seeing absolutely zero, nothing, no results. And then you have this 200 unit coming with a potential that you can be a co-GP on a deal. So, you know, I had all these emotions flying through my head. But anyway, so that guy flew to San Antonio, looked at the property and said, yeah, it works for me. I like the team. We had few calls. He trusted the team. The team was experienced. And he moved the money over. And then I was just so excited. I mean, I can't believe I got $1 million investor and 200 units. I mean, what could go wrong, right?
Yeah.
We're about to close in like 20 days. But that was like 2 years ago. So if you remember what's happening 2 years ago, right? So the market was going up, but then there was a lot of uncertainty. Then the rates started to rise, right? Rates were going like crazy. I mean, you have like 70, like 3/4, one increase, then you have, like 1 basis point, another. There were jumps all over the place, and banks got scared.
What was the close date for this?
Oh boy. It was 2 years ago in like October.
Oof.
What is it? 22, I think, or something.
That's a rough time to be closing.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah.
Really. I mean,
Wow.
if you look at just the statistics, people were sitting on the sidelines, but we were under contract for like 6 months, so we had to close. I mean,
Yeah.
we had everything ready, everything was done, and we were going to close, and there was the bank called us basically a week before closing, and they go, "Hey, listen, we will not give you the money. Sorry." Because there's just so much uncertainty, all this, you know, all this fluctuations happening in the market. We're just not going to give you the money, and we were crushed.
Wow.
We didn't know what to do. I mean, we were literally in a panic mode. Everything was
Yeah.
going great. We were like 10 days before closing. We got the money. Everything was done, and then the lender got cold feet. So and they pulled out of the deal, and apparently, you know, they can. So they pulled out of the deal. Our rate was like 4.75 or something
Right.
like that. So we immediately got a new lender who wanted to jump on a deal, but he gave us a rate of like 5.5.
Yeah, that's
And
big difference.
it was a big jump, and the deal didn't work. The returns didn't work at that time.
Right.
So we had to go back to all the investors and say, "Hey guys, we have to come out of the deal. We're returning all the capital back." So none of the passive investors lost their capital.
Wow.
Absolutely, we returned all their money back. Everything got wired back to their accounts. The main team lost some earnest money deposit, yes.
Yeah.
And that's my first experience in a syndication where it didn't close. But ultimately, I learned so much because not only I learned how to speak the language, and you learn by, I guess, working on a job, right? Like
Right.
when you're in the thick of it, you know what's happening. You know how people are reacting, what are they doing, because you'll never learn it if you're on the sidelines. So I learned a lot, and I'm not looking at it as a failure at all.
Yeah.
Since nobody lost their money, there was absolutely no damage to my friends or my investors. They all reinvested in another deal later on. There was no issue there.
Yeah.
It's just this particular deal I so wanted to close because, like I mentioned, it was 200 units, and I really, really wanted it to get it done.
So, you know, there's a couple things there. One is just the getting LP capital back is, I mean, man, if you hear people talk about syndications that went bad in the last couple years, that's not normal.
Yeah.
Because I guess, you know, you guys pulled out before it was too late. But how much, if you don't mind sharing, how much did the GP team lose?
Yeah, they lost like nearly 300 grand. Yeah, it was a lot of money. But listen, at that time, if you remember, since the market was just going so crazy, in order to stay competitive, especially in Texas, earnest money deposit had to go hard day one. So, I mean, really, even
Yeah.
now, I mean, what are we, in March of 24?
Yep.
If you want a deal so bad, you put earnest money hard, you know, not refundable. So at that time it was normal. Now maybe not, but a lot of people do, especially in like hot markets. Like if you look at, you know, Texas, for example, you know, the whole DFW market,
Right.
you can still do it.
Yeah.
You know, in order to
'Cause it's
show
hot.
that they're serious and they can close. So at that time it was normal. So yeah, the GP team lost money, but it's listen, if you play the game, you can lose the money, absolutely. And ultimately, that falls on the GP team. They take the biggest risk.
Right.
LPs did not, like I said, did not lose anything.
Right.
They just reinvested their money into the next deal, which is nothing for them, no big deal whatsoever.
Right.
They just kind of lost a month, maybe 2 months
Sure.
of time. But
Opportunity cost.
Yeah, opportunity cost.
Yeah.
But GPs, yeah, they lost some capital.
Wow. So now we are at the kind of the walking away point in this story. And I want to talk about what the learning lessons from this were, how to mitigate something like this in the future now that you've done deals and you know what the process is. And we're going to talk about all that after a word from our sponsor. Hey everyone, Jay here. So I love telling stories about bad deals on my podcast, but I don't want you to have to experience them. That's why my company, Ursa Capital, helps real estate investors protect and grow their wealth by investing in only great apartment deals with experienced operators that work regardless of what the market's doing. We're currently building our portfolio from $5 to $50 million in assets under management, and we'd like you to make money with us. So if you want access to great deals, go to ursacapital.com/join. That's ursa-capital.com/join for exclusive access to our deals and my team. See you soon. And we are back. So we've been talking to Vlad about this first syndication that he got in on as a GP, and it completely fell apart. And the real silver lining here is that LP capital was not lost, even though the GP team did lose, like we said, about $300,000, which is, I mean, that's not great, but it kind of strikes me that what's more important? I guess that this is the main question. Like, what is more important? Your money, let's say $300,000 here, or a reputation? Because, and not only a reputation, but just however many years before the deal would just fizzle out eventually anyway, probably due to the underwriting. And it seems like, if it were me, it would hurt. It would be super painful, but I would take that 300 every time.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, let's hypothetically say you get into a deal and you don't get the returns that you're targeting. I mean, then the LPs would come back to you in a few years and say, hey, listen, you promised us, not promised, but your deck said this, and you're giving us, less, or not
Right.
doing any distributions, or, your return, or you underwater, that's even worse, right? So your reputation is completely ruined as an operator. So I believe you should take a hit, in order to not only save your reputation, but save your, investors' capital. Because
Right.
the ultimate goal is this: save investors' capital. I mean, so far in this space, I have 8 deals, 3 JVs, and the rest are syndications.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned so much from them. Not a single one is failing.
Yeah.
Up to now. Yeah, they're all paying consistent distributions, and we're doing great. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because we learned our lesson. We got great debt. We negotiated on our deals. We got great terms. So it's really important to have the proper team, the right debt, all the people in place in order to the deal to succeed. Ultimately, if you think about it, you're not investing in an apartment or real estate. You're buying a business.
Mm-hmm.
So just switch your mind a little bit, where you say, I'm buying a business for 5 years. For 5 years, you have to grind at it, and that's your investment. That's why I had to quit my W-2, because who's gonna do it? It's a 5-year investment in a business. So if the business fails, and you have to know how to run that thing, right? So it's a multi-million-dollar business.
Right.
So it's really, really important and plus it has employees, right? So, and then it have, you have all these people that are involved in this thing, not only investors. So you have to take care of everyone. So it's really important to understand it from the very beginning. So after that, it's like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
Right? Even though one can consider this deal a failure, I don't. It's a learning experience. And then after that, it was like a snowball effect over and over and over. And like I said, last year we purchased, well, it's 2024. I'm going to say 2022 we purchased 6 deals. Last year we purchased 4. Yeah, and this year, nothing yet, but we have few on the contract.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, man, it strikes me that that's really the trade-off, right? Like, I talk to people pretty much every week now that want to be new GPs in multifamily or just, commercial operators. And nothing against them. A lot of people just end up not doing it because of what you just said.
Yeah.
You're running a business, and you're not only running a business with your own money, you're running it with other people's money. So that's that's really where the sweat equity comes in, is the accelerated risk and the accelerated your time is being leveraged.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that people don't understand is this. They're like, oh yeah, I can do asset management. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. You can do asset management. Can you run a $20 million business for 5 years successfully?
Right.
That's the question. Let's say it's $20 million purchase. So if you an asset manager, ultimately you're running the place. You're running it. Right? Because you're directing the property manager, you're telling them what to do. So can you honestly just look me in the eye and say, yes, I can run a $20 million company? I mean, not a lot of people have the guts to say that, right?
Yeah.
Because you need experience, you need you need so much backing, because ultimately, and it's a 5-year commitment. Right? You can't just say in year 2, hey, listen, I need a vacation or something like that. I'm going to quit for 6 months,
Right,
I'll see you soon or whatever. No. It's a 5-year commitment. You are in the deal for 5 years running a $20 million company.
Right.
And mind you, if you're in 2 deals, then you're running 2 $20 million companies. Can you do that? So when people say, oh yeah, I'm an asset manager, or I do this or I do that, can you actually successfully do it? How many projects or how much time do you have in your day? And a lot of people say, oh yeah, I got a W-2, which is fine, and I do that for 40 hours, 9 to 5, and then I'll do some stuff on the side for the syndication. I'm like, how can you possibly do it?
Yeah.
What if I need you at 2 p.m. and I call you at 2 p.m. at your job and there is an emergency or something like that? What's going to happen?
Right.
So people don't understand that you're running a business. It's a full-time commitment for 5 years. And it's not a tiny house for $200,000 in, let's say, Wallington, New Jersey. It's a $20 million apartment complex with investors that are coming in that you have to produce for. So it's a different ball game there.
It is, and this is what I always ask people, because I'm not an asset manager. I don't enjoy being an asset manager. This is part of my story that I want to continually keep sharing over the course of this podcast, but I don't like it. I'm not particularly good at it. Therefore, I need to find it's the whole Dan Sullivan who not how. I need to find my who to do that with me. And so I'm talking to operators all the time, and what I want to know, one of the first things I want to know is like, okay, so show me your track record, show me your experience. How many years have you been successfully doing this in this market? That's really what it is, because you're right. People think there's a lot less to it than there actually is. And if you have more than one deal, you're right. You're running 2, 5, 10, $20 million businesses, and you're going to have to grow and get the systems to do that because you only have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's such a it's such a huge sticking point and a huge question for any listener. Like if you're looking at a deal somebody sent you, you should be asking these questions to them.
Absolutely. It's one of the big things. And one thing I always say is this. If you go to any multifamily conference, you go
Yeah.
to, let's say, 5. After the 5th one, you go there, you're going to see the same 70 to 80% of people that you saw at the first 4 conferences.
Yep.
Why? Because it's such a tiny space. Not a lot of people do it or can do it successfully. So it's the same people over and over and over. Everybody knows you. It's the same community. You go to a, let's say, a lender. You go to a broker and you mention somebody's name and they're like, oh yeah, I saw that guy. We had lunch 2 days ago.
Exactly.
It's the same people. So that's exactly how it works. I mean, a lot of people say, oh yeah, I want to be involved. I'm like, really? So what can you do? What can you possibly do on this project? I just literally had a call a few hours ago with a person said, I want to be involved as a GP in this. I want some equity. I'm like, okay, that's fine. What can you do?
Right.
He's like, well, I can just participate and I'm like, you mean you can log in on a Zoom call? That's a participation? Because it's not really. No, you have to be in the thick of it. What if you have to fly there? I'm going to ask you to fly to Kansas City. Can you fly tomorrow at 3 p.m.? I highly doubt it because you're pretty successful here in New Jersey. I don't think you can just pick up and fly there.
Right.
So you have to understand that a lot of people want it, but they don't know what comes with it. Like I said, like on several deals, I'll just give you an example. On one of the deals that we were working on, it took 9 months and 7 offers to lock up that deal. 9 months and 7 offers. So when people say, oh yeah, I submitted an LOI, it didn't go through, and that's it, that's the end of it. How about 7 of them?
Yeah.
And then we got it done. And 9 months. I mean, come on. So
most people don't do things for more than 9 months. Like it's, I 100%, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I want to come back around here, and this will probably be where we want to kind of land this plane. I want to know, we talked a little bit at the beginning. We're kind of coming full circle here about raising capital. And in looking back at this deal, I think that's one of the main things where you could have kind of a post-mortem and say, okay, well, that could have gone better.
Yeah.
And feel free to identify some other stuff, but that's one big thing. What is your process now? How is it different than when you got into this deal? Because, that must have been, and believe me, I remember too, that must have just been crushing to just like, okay, I'm going to reach out to all these people. None of them say yes.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the big things that I've learned is that I heard from some people, find a great deal and the investors are going to come and money is going to come. That's absolutely not true. No, absolutely not true. You can have the best deal, like the most amazing deal. People will still be losing money and will not invest with you. So it's really, really important to choose the right partners. That's number one. I always speak about the team. Choose the right partners and vet them carefully, really carefully. Like they always say it's a marriage, but just think about it. You're going to have to see that person every single day for 5 years. So make sure you're okay with looking at their face.
Right.
That's number one. So learn that. Do not jump into deals that are just okay. And most importantly, you look at social media and stuff like that, and I think it's just silly when people post on social media and be like, oh yeah, I have this amazing deal, where are my partners? And I'm like, oh boy, they're willing to take just strangers from social media?
Anybody, come on in.
Yeah, just anybody. Who are they? Are they vetting them? I mean, come on. So they're willing to accept anyone
Yeah.
to be in their deal, absolutely anyone, without just like, who are they? I mean, come on, you have to do deals with people that you know, like, and trust. That's the whole idea of it. So it's really important to be very, very careful. Pick your partners correctly. That's number one. Pick the team correctly. Put the systems in, right? And then go after the deal.
Right.
Deal does not come first. Because I'll give you an example. If you have money to buy a deal for $5 million and you cannot raise more than $1 million, why are you looking at deals that are worth 20 and requires a raise of like 5 million or 10 million or something like that? You can raise the money anyway. What's the point of looking at them?
Yeah.
So just change the system. Change it. Just adjust. That's all you have to do. And ultimately, if you grind it out and be in the space long enough, I think a good time is 3 to 5 years. If you can, be in this space, then eventually you'll be successful. But it's not an easy road. It's like this. I heard one operator said it's delayed gratification. You don't get the money now. Everybody wants to be like an LP, right? LP wants the returns right away. You invest the money, you close. The next month, you get the check in the mail, right? You get your ACH transfer or in your bank account, right? For GPs, it doesn't work this way, right? We make money, on a sale or most of the money anyway.
Right.
So it's delayed gratification. It's not like the money now. You know that the money is working for you, but you'll just get it in a few years. So that's where the patience game is coming in. So it's really important to wait it out and be patient.
If there is anyone listening to this that wants to be especially a capital raiser in the real estate, especially multifamily, but all commercial, or doing other kinds of funds, you might need to listen to this episode twice, because this is I think this whole story is so illustrative of the kind of stuff that you will face or that you need to do the work before in order to avoid. It's just, man, this is such good stuff. Thank you. It's honestly so many lessons from this.
Yeah, listen, it's been a huge learning process. That's number one. It's really important, and it after this deal, everything started to snowball, and like I said, we picked up so many deals after that, and it's been an amazing learning experience. And it didn't happen just with me. I mean, I spoke with my fellow operators, and a lot of them say, "Oh yeah, the lender did not perform. Oh yeah, we found something in due diligence and the deal fell apart." I mean, there's just so many stories, and it happens all the time, right? So instead of putting more money and more resources at risk, you just cut it off and just move on. In some cases, it's just there's nothing to squeeze, right? Like, you open up a wall and you see, complete rot with electric and plumbing, and it's just completely destroyed. What are you gonna do? You're gonna blow your budget. You're not gonna be successful. Your returns are not gonna be the same, and eventually you'll fail anyway. So just like end it and just move on to the next project.
And that could have been your reality if you hadn't walked away. And it seems like the ability to walk away and the discipline to walk away is a really, really necessary skill in all of this, because, like you said, and I think, people have a consistency bias. So they want to be consistent. You want to double down. You want to say, no, I got this thing under contract. I'm going to close it. It doesn't matter what happens. Like, it's going to be what it's going to be. And that's a really foolish way to approach life. I mean, but definitely this business.
Yeah, it happens everywhere, even in single family space. Like, we see it all the time. You have a contractor or somebody walking a property, and they said, "Oh my gosh, look at this foundation. Do you know it's going to cost like $50,000 to fix? What are you doing? Why are you buying this thing?" So yeah, the deal ultimately falls apart. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
I see it every single day, and it's that's the game. So
Man, that's so good. Vlad, thank you so much for being on the podcast, for sharing your experience. How can the listeners get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you?
Yeah, of course. I'm all over social media. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram. I actually started my YouTube channel. I like motorcycles, and I also like real estate. So my channel is called Wheels and Real Estate Deals, right? So it's kind of cool.
Nice.
I combine motorcycles and real estate together. Like I go to meet an investor or an appointment or something like that, and if it's above 40 degrees and not raining, I ride my motorcycle and I kind of put it in a shot and I do like a little reel and stuff like that. So plus I have a really unique last name, Arakcheyev, so I'm all over social media. Just find me, connect with me, and I'm very happy to help and answer any questions I can.
That's awesome, man. We'll have links to all your social media and to Wheels and Real Estate Deals on YouTube down in the show notes today. I want to thank Vlad again for being on the Bad Deals podcast, and to everybody, remember that success is the goal, but failure is how you get there. I'll talk to you next time. On the next episode of Bad Deals.
What we were seeing in our inspection was that there was significant moisture and water-related damage to the units, to the back walls, because these roofs had not been replaced. The marquee sign had to be replaced. The irrigation system was non-functional for the building. It had another 6 figures of deferred maintenance to be dealing with.
If you like the show you just heard, you can actually help us out a lot by following, subscribing, and leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your preferred podcast app.